Okay, we're in the home of G.L. Hall today in Lenoir City in the Hardin Estates, and so we're going to pick his brain to find out his background and a lot of his memories growing up in Lenoir City. So first of all, thank you for letting us come in to your home today and talk with you.
Well, you're quite welcome.
Okay, so first of all, which community did you grow up in?
The community?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it would have been west Lenoir City. It would have been west. You know, we have an east and a west. It would have been west, where I grew up in. Now, I grew up at several different places, to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Back when my daddy started, we lived on 2nd Avenue. My daddy started in the automobile business here in 1940.
Mm.
Building up on A Street and 1st Avenue, Wilbert Hardware used it for a warehouse now. So he started a business there, and then World War II came along, and he couldn't get cars.
Hmm.
So he had to close the business, and we moved to Knoxville. We lived in Knoxville for 2 years. We had a farm over here in Greenback, or this side of Greenback, and we moved back to the farm and lived over there until 1946. He got his business started again because he started making cars.
Mm-hmm.
He got his business started again, and we moved back to Lenoir City. I was in the 6th grade.
Okay.
We moved back to Lenoir City, and then we lived there. Well, I've lived there the rest of my life. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
You still got a bunch to go.
Still got a ways to go yet. But, and so that was pretty well. My daddy farmed, and I did too. I was big enough to do a few things,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's what we did. The strange thing about that, when we lived in Knoxville, or when we lived in Lenoir City 1, we had power, we had running water, and when we moved back to the farm, we had coal oil lamps and outhouses. That was kind of a switch,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, then from then on, why, I lived here in Lenoir City, yeah.
Now, where did you go to elementary school?
Nichols.
Okay, so that was in town then.
Nichols Elementary School.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I started there in the 6th grade, went through the 8th there. We didn't have a middle school
Right.
then, you know.
Do you have any memories of Nichols School?
Of Nichols School?
Mm-hmm. What are your memories?
Well, the one thing that I always thought about Nichols School, it had an upstairs, and it had the cafeteria was upstairs, and the wood floors were all wood. Mm-hmm. So in the summer when school was out, they'd soak them with oil to keep the dust down.
Mm-hmm.
And the memories that I've had of that, what would happen if you were upstairs and you had a fire? Of course, we had fire drills. But what would happen, because that oil, those wooden oil-soaked floors would go up like cardboard, mm-hmm. you know, and what would you do? How would you get out? That was one of the main thoughts I'd had about Nichols School.
They had a certain smell to them, too.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Did you have any teachers there that made a big impression on you?
Yeah, I did. I guess it would have been Miss Brazil. Miss Brazil was one of the teachers, and she was also the principal.
Okay.
And she was a very nice lady. She was a very nice lady, and she wanted you to learn. Another teacher there that was that I thought was good was Martha Hagner. Martha Hagner was real good. She was my 7th grade teacher. Ms. Brazil was my 2nd grade teacher. But those two are the ones that made more of an impression on me, I guess, than anybody did. Now, we had good teachers. They were all good, you know.
But those were the two that made the biggest
impression.
impression.
That's the two that made the biggest impression to me.
So from Nichols, you go to Lenoir City High School.
Went to Lenoir City High School.
What are your memories about Lenoir City High School?
Well, of course, when I started Lenoir City High School, we had the 3 buildings.
What year was that?
1949.
Okay.
We had the gymnasium and the middle building, and then another building that sat over here. And you, of course, changed classes. You went outside and to change classes in it, you know. When I was my senior, they built a new school up there, or they just tied the 3 buildings together.
Okay.
And made more classrooms. And I went into the new school in January before I graduated. So I got to be there for the last semester of one teacher that really made an impression on me was Ms. Opal Griffiths, because I was afraid of her as I was of bear. And you didn't chew chewing gum in her room. You didn't do anything. And she taught Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry. So I had taken Algebra 1. I passed it because I was afraid not to. And so I was going into my junior or senior year 1. And we had to go through the line, and all of the teachers was there getting their classes. I got close to her, and I got down and crawled so I could get by without her seeing me. Well, she caught me. Needless to say, I took Algebra 2 and also Geometry too. But that's the one that impressed me more. Now, we had some good teachers. Miss Heatherly was English teacher. Miss Mara, she was Mara Heatherly, and she was good. And Mildred Ritchie, I always liked Mildred Ritchie. She was a good teacher. And they were several good teachers there at the high school.
I asked you off camera if you had played sports, and you said no.
No.
Would you tell me that story about how you became a basketball manager?
I had absolutely no athletic ability. None. I went in high school in 1949, and I probably weighed maybe 100 pounds. The football team was undefeated. They had played the champions of Georgia State champions in a bowl game, and beat them. So I thought, well, now I ain't gonna make it here. So I said, well, I'll try basketball. So I tried basketball, and finally the coach came to me and he said, GL, said, I think I've got a good job for you, a good place for you on the team. Well, good. Said, you can be the manager. And I said, well, I'll just take it. I'll just take it. So I was the manager. I had to take care of the towels and all of that. And at halftime, I had to run the dust mop over the gym floor, you know. And so that was my job.
And it's an important job.
And it's an important job.
That's
I
right.
was very important.
That's right. While growing up in Lenoir City, I would like for you to share some of the memories that you had growing up in Lenoir City. Like, you know, where were some of the stores and shops and things like that you remember most?
Do you know where a Lanham Furniture store is? Now, you know, what a car dealership looks like now. You go down here to the Dodge store and there's cars forever. Ford store, same way, cars forever. There was 3 car dealerships in the building that Loudon Furniture Store's in. This was 1946. There was 3 car dealerships. My family had Dodge and Plymouth. Here, they're 50 foot. Dodge and Plymouth. There was a Chevrolet dealer in the middle and an Oldsmobile dealer next to the post office. And those were that furniture store is now. Now, just above the furniture store, where our store was, there was a Hudson dealer. He had a little old building about the size of this thing, and he had Hudsons. Then the next one up was the City Hall, I believe. There was a restaurant there, but it was on one side or the other side. There was the City Hall was there.
That's where Harvey Sproul is now, right?
Where Harvey is. There was an office downstairs. There was one place there for a fire truck. And the City Hall was upstairs. But up the steps, City Hall, Sammy Smith was the treasurer. And then you went down the backside, and there was the jail there. And so then on the next one up, after there was a little restaurant in there somewhere. But anyway, then Ash Furniture Store was on the corner of Kingston Street and Broadway. That big building that's there, I think it's Masonic now or something, you know. But anyway, that was a furniture store at that time.
And there were a bunch of furniture stores in town.
Oh, we had a bunch of furniture stores. But where that furniture store is, where Loudon Furniture Store is, there was 3 car dealerships. My daddy got 6 Dodges and 6 Plymouths for the year. That's what he got to sell. I think he got a couple of trucks. We had Dodge trucks too. See, they just started building them back. See,
after the war.
The war. They stopped in 1941 and then started again to 46. See. But anyway, so that was an impression on me. Now you talk about furniture stores. We had Ash Furniture Store. We had Munger. We had Pickle, T.D. Pickle. We had Thomas Talent. Now, Marge, did we have any more? Had the 4. We had the 4. Okay.
After high school, what did you do?
After high school, I went to work for Talent Funeral Home.
Okay, tell me about that.
I graduated from high school. That was a memorial building. We had the first graduation class in the memorial building. It was my class, first one. Now, it had opened in 1952. There'd been some ball games played in there, but nothing like this. And I was the first graduating class, and that was in May of 53. You went right across the railroad track where the hosiery mill. And there was a big field there. And the carnivals would set up in there. Carnivals and circuses would set up in there. So there was a couple of fellas here, and I knew them real well, and I'm not going to call their names. They got in there to this gambling stuff, you know, trying to win some money, and they found out they'd been cheated. So, now what are we going to do? Get even. We had a railroad track right there. The train had stopped. They got a rope, and they tied it to that freight train, and this car had a big top. I mean, big one. It was up, and tied that rope to that train. So when the train left, the big top went with it. And it just cleaned out. It just cleaned out. Of course, it never did nobody find out who had done it, you know. But they took the big top with it. Just to see. Now, did anybody ever tell you about the cattle drives?
No.
At down Broadway.
Tell me about it.
Well, the Lenore family formed the Lenore City Company. Mm-hmm. You probably know about that. Mm-hmm. Okay. They had down there on the river bottom where Yale Town is now, they had big farms down in there, had big barns, had cattle. So in the summer, they'd take those cattle up here on Highland Park, Pine Top back then, you know, and leave them up there to pasture. They'd drive them right down the middle of Broadway. They had, whoever the people was working, rode horses, just like you'd see in the Wild West. And they drive them down Broadway. Of course, Broadway then just a 2-lane road, you know, and take them up there. They had to go, you had to go then up where Hissy Fritz's beer joint was at one time, and go up that road to get up on by, because the others wasn't there then, see? And take those cattle up there every spring. And then in the fall, they'd go get them and bring them back. And it just looked like, cause we had our garage, that's when our old garage was over in town, see, so you could stand right there and watch them.
So this went on until when?
I don't know.
Probably late 40s?
I don't remember. I saw it twice.
Okay.
I saw it 2 times. And then I never see it anymore, so I don't know how long they did that.
Yale Town had to have been built in the early...
It was in the 50s.
Early 50s, and the reason I remember that is when I was in Highland Park School, and I was there from fall of 1950 on through the, you know, but several of my friends' parents went to work at the lock company, which was about the third only place you could work at in Lenore City. There was the Car Works, the mill, and then
Car Works, mill.
So that was big when it came. Well, one of our teachers arranged for our class to go visit Yale Town, and so we walked from Highland Park School over to Yale Town. And to this day, I can see those ladies sitting on those with these little things, putting these little tiny, and I knew right then, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Well, I wanted to be a librarian at that time in my life, but I knew darn good well
you didn't want to do that.
I did not want to work the lock. But it was a major boost to the economy of Lenore City.
Oh, it's the only thing we had. See, we didn't have
so
nothing
the
but
cattle
cotton
drives probably stopped by the...
See, about that time was when the Car Works went out.
The Car Works, Daddy died in 57, November 11th, 1957. And the Car Works was there probably till about my sophomore year in high school, because my brother worked there.
Okay.
And then he left there and went to work for TVA. But there was still some fraction of the Car Works that was there for a little while.
Over there on the east side, you know.
Do you know of anybody else? I told him about John Marius, but I looked at some pictures of Dad and all of the men that I knew from the Car Works. I don't know if any of their family's still alive. But other than John Marius, can you think of anybody he could talk to about the Car Works?
I don't know of any of them.
Well, Tom McKinney was pattern shop, and see all of his Vernon and Eugene, they're long since dead. And then Tom Lewis worked there, and you know, all of his family are gone. I can't think of anybody.